I was intending to do this video anyway to show you how I built my grow boxes in other areas. This is for William from earlier on today. So the ones in front of my house. So the front of my house used to look like this. This was quite a few years, maybe 5 years ago. So all I simply did is my posts here are all on the edge of the asphalt. They are at least 12 inches down for only 5 times 5.5, so 26 inches at the tallest point, tapers down. So my posts are concreted in the ground against the edge of the asphalt. So I'm sure that nothing's gonna topple over. I used cedar for the box. However, if I was better off then. If I was to do this again, I would use the corrugated roofing metal, much cheaper product. Treated wood on the outside, not coming in contact with the soils. I only have a few pictures, so let's see what the next one is. This is the inside of the box. This is temporary bracing until I got the soil in. So once all the soil is in, it's going to maintain the structural integrity of the box. So most of them, I did not remove the slope inside the rocks. I just made a mental note and some written notes, so when I plant something in the back, I make sure they're not going to be deep-rooted plants. And then my back posts, which again are at least 12 inches in the ground, concrete, for only 16 inches up. So for the most part, I maintain the slope. So again, any shallow root vegetables will go in the back. Any deep root vegetables can go in the front. Also, it doesn't matter what type of raised bed you are using. Put in 3 inches of foam board rigid insulation on the outside, and this will assure that the soil on the inside will not freeze in the wintertime. And if you have a housing on top, you can continue your growing. Me, I can grow about 10 months of the year. So 3 inches of rigid foam board insulation, just the cheapest stuff that you can find. Then I put in my finished siding next. Now, initially, I had steps in between each one, which I subsequently took out all but one, closed it off, put in my fruit trees. Now, I designed the back on a slope for a purpose. So while I'm walking behind, I can reach in from the back unless I have my chicken wire up. So I can do watering from the back. Any tall vegetables, I can have them come up, like peas, pick them in the back, reach in. Then my hinged top. And then the final product. I designed it this way with the openings on the bottom so I can have some airflow flowing through the bottom and the sides. So in the winter time, I just put in my little pieces of polycarbonate panel, and then in the springtime, I take them out and replace them with chicken wire so marmots or any other critters don't crawl in. Then in my first little greenhouse, I only got a couple of pictures of this one. So I initially just made a simple square raised bed. But then I thought afterwards, I'm going to put a housing on top, a little housing. Now, because I'm too close to the side property line, I have to keep it underneath 6 feet and a couple of inches. These are some windows I came across. 2 pane windows. They've been in place for at least 5 years. Haven't had any problems with them. No leaks, no nothing. Just simply start off with building a frame around it. These are just some blocking, stop blocking, so I have removable panels, window panels. And again, rigid foam board insulation, 3 inches. Prevents the soil inside from freezing up. Now, as for my other greenhouse, I don't have plans stored. However, before I build anything, I do make plans. More than anything else, just so I know how much material I'm going to need and if I can afford it. So the side of my property was a slope with just some landscaping plants. And again, I sink my 4x4 posts at least 1 foot deep in concrete. So regardless of how high they are, this is only maybe that was a 12-inch post. It still went down 12 inches in concrete. And here, later on the inside here, it got down to the point where I had to scavenge and use whatever materials I can find. Like an old landscaping tie, some old pine boards, fence boards. To the finished product. So the back side is twin wall polycarbonate panel, whereas the front side is just the simple one layer. So on the top, I leave it open in the spring and summertime, so any heat will vent out to the top. Then in winter time, I'll just put some foam boards in on the outside there to close up the gaps. Purposely designed so I have openings on the bottom for airflow. So at the end of the winter time, I just remove all of these polycarbonate panel sections, staple on some chicken wire. And that's it. Just slowly, bit by bit. So no matter what you're building or how you're building it, obviously materials is more expensive now, like cedar planks. I would never ever do it again with cedar. Use the galvanized roofing metal. Sturdy. It's going to hold in the soil. Just get the cheapest foam board insulation you can find, put it on the outside. You can put siding on it, or you don't have to. It really doesn't matter. If you're going to get as complicated as me and putting a structure on top, twin wall polycarbonate panel, or standard hoop cover. You can take some irrigation pipe, the PVC pipe, just bend it gently, have some cross pieces going across. You can use a 1x2 or 1/2 inch by 1.5 inch slats. So you can drape over either sunshade in the summertime or frost cloth in the wintertime. The principle is the more layers you can put on, the warmer the environment. Like when you go out into the bush in the wintertime, you don't take just one single bulky jacket, you dress up in layers. Put layers over your planting areas. Yeah, I think that's it. So that way, normally the growing season is, let's say it's 3 months, right? Well, you can extend it to 9 months, maybe 10, by keeping the soil warm and by keeping the cover on. So for me, I start my seedlings inside in December. Then around February, I can move them outside into the tunnel. It can still be freezing outside if I got good sunshine coming in, because it's a small area. It takes very little passive solar energy, natural sunlight, to keep things nice and warm on the inside. So that way, while everybody's doing their first planting in May, I'm doing my first harvest in May, and then I'm doing my second planting, and so on. Hope you enjoyed the tour.